Before we begin, we'd like to invite you to check out the Pop Culture Preservation Society on Patreon. Patreon is a platform that allows artists and creators to earn a recurring income by providing rewards and perks to its subscribers. When you support the PCPS on Patreon, your donation goes directly to our operational expenses and keeps us from going broke at work. And in exchange, our supporters get bonus videos of our recordings, custom retro images to download and print, invitations to Zoom events with your hosts, and more. Patreon is our only source of income, and we thank you for helping us do this job we love. To learn more, go to patreon.com, patreon.com, and put Pop Culture Preservation Society into the search bar. Thanks so much, and please enjoy the show.
And you just want to slide under a table for them, like Gavin MacLeod. Just walk out.
No, Captain Stubing, no.
My favorite was Dick Van Patten. You guys, Dick Van Patten cannot dance. Neither can Pat Sajak. And Pat Sajak comes out in his sweater vest.
Hello world is a song that we're singing. Come on, get happy. A whole lot of loving is what we'll be bringing. We'll make you happy.
Welcome to the Pop Culture Preservation Society, the podcast for people born in the big wheel generation who hankered for a hunk of cheese.
We believe our Gen X childhoods gave us unforgettable songs, stories, characters, and images. And if we don't talk about them, they'll disappear, like Marshall, Will, and Holly on a routine expedition.
And today, we'll be saving the competition show responsible for the rash of broken arms suffered in basements, backyards, and TV rooms while trying the latest trick seen on the disco-era dance show, Dance Fever. I'm Carolyn.
I'm Kristen.
And I'm Michelle. And we are your pop culture preservationists. Dance Fever.
Dance Fever. I've got a factoid about that that's going to blow your minds. And I know you haven't found it on the Google. If you were a disco queen like I was, you called dibs on the TV room every Saturday afternoon for the weekly disco dance-o-rama that was Dance Fever. For 30 minutes once a week, I got to be the person I thought I was in my head. An adult dressed in a shiny danskin leotard and matching wrap skirt, dancing to the hottest disco hits with my John Travolta lookalike dance partner / boyfriend at the legendary Studio 54. That's what I thought my adult life would be. And Dance Fever was my training ground. I was not there to be entertained. I was there to study. And I know I was not the only one who showed up for Dance Fever with this kind of seriousness.
Well, you're the only one I know, Kristen.
I didn't know that disco wouldn't go on forever. I had no idea.
Oh, no, it didn't. And even on Dance Fever, it didn't last forever.
No, it didn't.
I loved Dance Fever. I loved it so much. And I grew up dancing too, but I don't remember having aspirations like you did, Kristen. I definitely remember having a crush on Mr. Deney Terrio.
Well, sure.
I mean, the dark hair, he was so charming. He always pointed.
Lots of pointing.
Yeah. And then don't you guys, and his little short break, and he'd do the little break motion with his hand. And I loved Deney Terrio. You guys, think about this. This Dance Fever was such a new concept. It was a reality competition show in 1978, 79. And I was all in at 10 years old. And you guys, this became like the precursor, right? To
That's right.
Dancing with the Stars, American Idol, The Voice,
Mm-hmm.
all these reality competition shows that to this day I get sucked into and still love. I think it started with Dance Fever. Watching it this past, few days as a 54-year-old, I have been Husker Dude up the wazoo. Literally, there's sound effects going. Listeners, that's our sound effect. Kristen does it better. Kristen do that.
Bork.
I don't know
why
that.
It's because it's the Swedish Chef. I'm like,
it's
how
the
did we come up
Swedish
with
Chef,
that?
yeah.
It's the Swedish Chef.
I have had nipple lightning upon nipple lightning watching this show because just remembering the DJ to the dancers, it was definitely a show that was really impactful for me, I think.
For sure. And I think really represented the times.
And how.
Yes.
Yes.
I've decided that if I have the opportunity to put one item in a time capsule to represent the early to mid 80s, it would be a videotape of an episode of Dance Fever. Okay. So much about that time period is encapsulated in each of those episodes.
Yeah.
Think about it. You had the pop culture celebrity judges. You had what music was popular, what dancing was popular, even the sponsors. I got Husker Du out the wazoo when I saw who the sponsors of the show were. And I got teary because so many of those brands are not around anymore.
What about the Bonaventure Hotel?
Oh, the
Bonaventure
Bonaventure Hotel.
Hotel.
Yes.
With the three big columns.
Like mirrored, the three mirrored columns. That was the setting for the show It's a Living.
Well, yeah, and those sponsors, I mean, Turtle Wax, anyone? I cannot believe, did we just wax our cars all the time? What
Constantly.
is that about?
Constantly.
You know why? It's because it was way before. I mean, this was the late 70s. Nobody waxed their bodies, so someone had to wax something.
Well, you were going to wax your Isuzu vehicle that if you won in the finals. That was what you got.
Mm-hmm. The Isuzu pickup truck.
Isuzu, yes.
Yeah. The tiniest little pickup truck. It's like a Matchbox car.
Yeah.
It's adorable.
I wanted that stereo jukebox.
The jukebox, and it flashed the lights to the beat of the music. That was a prize.
It says it also, not only is it a jukebox, it has an 8-track player in it.
Mm-hmm. It is it's like a time capsule on crack. It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, yes, on
it
crack
is crazy.
For sure.
So I often watch Dance Fever at my friend Dawn's house, but not with Dawn, with Dawn's older brother, Mike, who was a 9th grader who proudly wore his Disco Dynamite t-shirt to school, even though he got bullied by all the boys who were wearing their Disco Sucks t-shirts. And then when the show was over, we would try the most dangerous of the lifts, like the one where the man holds the one arm and one leg and then swings you around in a circle. Yes. And sometimes you go up and down a little bit, up and down. And then
you get so much the force.
Yes,
the centrifugal
it's like
force,
you're riding a wave. Yeah.
You're so close to your face in the ground. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Kristen, oh my goodness.
I know. There was shag carpeting, don't worry. And then the one we could never figure out was the one where he would hold on to just one arm and then swing you around on the ground like he's sweeping the ground. But also you're like, the girl is like unwinding, like twisting and unwinding. We could not figure that one out.
Well,
but
it's
we
the
studied
shag carpeting.
It. Yeah, the shag
because they
carpeting.
still do that on Dancing with the Stars. They do many of those same lifts on Dancing with the Stars.
You would have gotten some rug burns. Yeah, you would have had some rug burns.
Oh, there were lots of rug burns. There were so many injuries.
Wait, can I just backtrack really quick? Let's also time capsule this. In the past 5 minutes, both of you have said something that is a phrase no one uses today anymore, but is so of the 70s, and that's TV room.
That's
no one calls it a TV room anymore.
No.
You just say your family room or your living room because everybody has a TV in there.
Well, there's a TV in every room. So there's no...
Okay, good point. Right. Good point. Yeah. We carry a TV in our pockets. Let's be real.
Yeah.
So here's my little factoid for you guys. It's going to blow your minds.
Oh, yeah.
So... I went on a little solo vacation a few years ago to Northern California. I was actually doing research for Worldwide Crush because there is a location in Worldwide Crush called Bodega Bay. And so I was on my way to Bodega Bay. And I stopped for the night in a little town called Gen Xer. And I was staying at a hotel called the Timber Cove Lodge. It's really nice. You guys should go there. They have record players in the rooms. Anyway,
that's cute.
When you arrive at Timber Cove Lodge, they bring you a drink called the Remedy. And the Remedy is to settle your tummy because you've been driving on all of these windy roads. And so you take your Remedy and you go sit down in the sunken living room lobby while you wait for them to get all of your checking in stuff done. And while I'm there, somebody else is drinking their Remedy. And so we start chatting. The man that I was talking with, his name is Rich Lyons. And we were doing what do you do? What do you do? He was a composer. He said, you might know my work from Dance Fever.
What?
He was the man who composed the theme for Dance Fever.
I just want to know what your reaction was. Did you throw your Remedy in the air?
It was a moment. It was one of those moments where you almost don't know what to say. I was like, what?
He's used that line on so many people for so many decades, just waiting for the reaction like you gave him. Every time he said it and someone's gone, I don't know about that, or I don't remember.
Don't care.
Or they have this puzzled look in their eyes and they try to maybe make him feel better by going, oh, that's great. Right. And then he's like,
Somebody.
I'm going to find that person, that one person. And he found you.
And that's how you know it's true, because you can't develop a lie that won't freak people out. Right? The lie has to be impressive.
That's right. That has to be the truth. That's exactly
right.
And I wanted to go find my journal. I wanted to see what I wrote about it. Can you guys just hold for 1 second? Oh, here it is. I found it. Oh my God. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
I retire to the lobby bar and order a cheese plate and a remedy. A man sits down next to me and we chat for an hour on and off. He's a local, moved here from LA, and he just happened to write the theme song for Dance Fever. He is lovely. We shake hands and he introduces himself, Richard Lyons. Oh, that's all I wrote.
I still love it.
I know. Oh, I'm so glad I found that. That means I know I didn't leave anything important out. Richard Lyons. Hi, I'm the composer for Dance Fever.
You could hear that theme song at the beginning of every episode of Dance Fever, which ran from January of 1979 until it was canceled in 1987. But gosh, that was a long time. 234 episodes.
Way longer than I thought. I certainly didn't watch it that long. I would have told you it was on for 1979 and that was it.
Right. You would have thought disco, and then we know as we've done, that disco died, and then what would you do? Well, lo and behold, they did.
Right, they figured it out.
There's a lot of dancing out there.
Pop and lock.
Yes.
Whacking.
Clogging. Deney Terrio was our host for the majority of those episodes. The last 2 seasons, the show was hosted by, do you guys know who it was?
I do, and I can't believe it. Yeah. This is weird to me, but also perfect, I guess.
Yes.
Also
so
perfect.
Who was it, Kristen?
It was Adrian Zemed, which is like the best name in Hollywood ever.
It is. TJ Hooker, everybody, if you didn't remember that.
And Grease 2.
That's right. He starred
with
in
Michelle
Grease
Pfeiffer.
too. And he was actually one of the celebrity judges.
Yes.
In that episode. So I guess he must have made a big splash in that, and they thought we want him all the time. So
or maybe it's just because he looked like Deney Terrio.
That's what I was about to say. Or they're like, maybe people won't notice.
They won't notice.
Because I'll be honest with you, when I've been looking for like images to post on social media and things for Dance Fever, I'm like, well, you just have to use the images with Deney Terrio because that's who our generation remembers. But I'll save an image, and then after I have to like zoom it in, and on closer inspection, I'm like, fuck, I think that's Adrian Zemed.
Okay, 100%. That's what it is. They said, who looks like Deney Terrio? And let's just slide him in there.
Well, each of those 234 episodes pretty much had the same format. So we would begin each episode with a dance routine that was performed by Deney and Motion.
I loved Motion.
Motion. Tell us about Motion, Kristen.
So Motion were basically Deney Terrio's backup dancers. It was always 2 women. It wasn't always the same women. And we'll talk about who they were a little bit in a minute. And sometimes they would just sort of be like the hosts, like, like on the Academy Awards when somebody brings you the envelope. So Motion would also take care of those duties too, in addition to dancing with Deney Terrio.
Right. So we'd have this opening little dance sequence, and then we'd get my favorite part, as you can imagine, ladies and gentlemen. Deney would introduce the celebrity judges. Every episode. And here's where Motion did do one of their tasks. They would escort out the celebrity judge, but they didn't just walk out. No. They had to do a little dance move. So, it was painful.
It's so stressful.
It's a prance. It's a prance, basically. And they hold the celebrity judge's hand way up high, and they do that little almost like horse prance out.
Yes.
They're strutting.
And some of the celebrities try to cut a rug a little bit.
They try to dance their way down the stage.
And you just want to slide under a table for them. Like Gavin McLeod, just walk out.
No,
Just
Captain
walk out.
Stubing, no.
My favorite was Dick Van Patten. You guys, Dick Van Patten cannot dance. Neither can Pat Sajak. And Pat Sajak comes out in his sweater vest. And you guys, here's my thought. Just maybe do a run through with motion of how you're going to come out.
Plan it.
Because how many
Just
celebrity
plan it.
awkward dancers did I just watch who like Dick Van Patten, Pat Sajak, and they try to do like a hip bump with motion or a twirl, but motion doesn't know that they're going to do that. So
And
like
they
maybe when
miss.
Dick Van Patten's hip goes to the right to bump motion, she's doing a twirl off to the side because she doesn't know. So it even makes poor Dick Van Patten look even more awkward.
And there are no second takes. I cannot believe the things that I saw that they let stand. At one point, Jane Seymour rammed right into Deney Terrio. Like, you didn't want to do that again?
Yeah, I know. And then one time, one of the male celebrities, it could have been Pat Sajak, I don't know. He tries to do the thing where you spin the girl out and they spin back in at you. But the poor motion girl didn't know. So when she spun back in, he went forward and they just crash.
Lots of crashing.
Yeah,
There's
there
so
were.
much crashing. They should have a plan.
is
And
so
you just
true,
feel
yes.
so bad. These people are not dancers. They should just have them, have motion come dancing out, but maybe have the celebrity, walk out purposefully down the middle.
exactly.
That would have been so much better. But instead, you're asking Dick Van Patten to, boogie.
Yeah, right. It gave me the vibes of when we watched that sequence on Chips when the disco roller.
Oh, my God. When, Rue McClanahan is trying to roller
Is
skate.
trying to do the roller
Or,
skate
Victor,
down.
there was
Yeah.
Victor French, Mr. Edwards. He didn't even have skates on, I don't think.
No.
He just was walking.
No, Victor French.
dancing.
Isn't that? Oh, no, that's Mr.
Mr.
French.
Edwards.
Yeah, that's right.
Who played Mr. Sebastian
Sebastian
Cabot?
Cabot.
Okay, here we go. Down
Here
our
we go.
rabbit hole.
Sorry, yes. Okay. Getting back to the episodes. Okay, after that wonderful introduction of our celebrity judges, then we'd move into the meat of the show, okay, the competition. Now, every episode, we would have 4 couples, and they would do a dance. And they're going to be judged on this dance by our friends, the celebrity judges. They were going to be judged on their originality, on their showmanship, and on their execution. I'm sorry.
Why are you laughing?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Gavin McLeod is going to know if they did execution. It's not Derek Huff who's a professional
That's
dancer,
right.
is going to say,
right.
oh, you didn't do the salsa correctly. You're getting,
Well, I was watching one of the judging sequences, and I think it was Lyle Wagner. Lyle Wagner, basically, this is his commentary. He's like, I thought they just knocked it out of the park, and she's got nice legs. 95.
Oh, yes.
oh, yeah.
Riley Van was like, and that's a sexy lady. 98.
So you're but the poor dancers, on the one hand, you think they worked really hard on their originality and their showmanship, and then that's what they're getting judged on.
Yeah,
So they're probably
sexy
that's
lady.
fine, we'll take the 95.
Whatever.
That's
it's
right.
$1,000. I'm taking it.
That's right. So they got judged on a range from 70 to 100. Okay. And then the couple with the highest average score at the end of the evening would be the winner of that episode. Now, if it was in the beginning of the season, this was when we were going to be finding out who would go on to the semifinal. So if you won one of those first episodes, you won $1,000, and you had probably gotten to the performance. You probably flew on Eastern Airlines because that was the official airline of Dancing with the Stars.
That's right. And you stayed at the Bonaventure Hotel.
They stayed at the Bonaventure Hotel, and they could win $5,000 if they won the semifinals.
That's big. That's big bucks.
Oh,
big money.
for sure. I should have done a little
1979.
calculating. And then you could go on to the finals, and there you would win a grand prize of $7,500.
Wow.
What?
So at the end of the day, you could have won $10,000 if you won the whole kit and caboodle.
If you were,
right?
yeah.
Yes.
No, more than that. 5,000 plus
Oh, yeah, you're
7,500
right.
plus 1,000.
Yeah, Kristen does the math.
13,500. See, I can do math.
Sorry, I don't know where.
And there were no ties on Dance Fever that I saw.
No. There were no ties at all. And I've got to go back just a little bit to when we were talking about the judges giving their scores. Just like you said, Michelle, they'd have their kind of fun little quippy remarks as to why they came up with their particular score. And then they would just hold up a sign, kind of a la Newlywed Game, and that would have the score on it. And they'd say, I give them an 80. And then, the next person would maybe say, I give them a 95. And you think, What? Did you guys not watch the same thing? It was, yes, kind of fun.
Not experts.
I watched an episode where it was, I'm going to forget her name. She's an ice skater. She won like a silver medal, Linda Fradiani or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And so she's actually judging on technique and things like that. Like her little, spiel about before she said, 85 was actually, it was like,
well, she's probably used to those.
That's right.
Technical marks and
whereas Lyle Wagner does not have the background that Linda Fradiani has. And when that happened, they would always say, and they sure looked like they were having a good time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, they were having so much fun. They're having fun.
I think they must have a little cue card with some set comments on there because I can't tell you how many of them knocked it out of the park.
Oh, yep.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, boy. That was a lot. Also, what was kind of fun about every episode of Not Dancing with the Stars, it's not called that. It's called Dance Fever. Every episode of Dance Fever also included a musical guest, and they had some pretty high-level musical guests. Another reason why this would be a great time capsule item, because you could also know who was at the top of the charts and see them perform live on Dance
with
Fever.
The biggest microphone I've ever seen, actually. When Evelyn Champagne King was on, the microphone was like a spear. It was like 3 feet long, and she's like trying to dance and groove with her giant microphone. I was like, be careful with that.
And it probably for some of those artists, the Evelyn Champagne Kings, the Rick Springfields, the Gap Band, I guess this was exciting.
Yeah.
Like, we got booked on Dance Fever.
It's like the Tonight Show.
And it was interesting, too. I just wanted to say that each of those dance performances by the contestants was only like 90 to 120 seconds. We're not talking about like a full, 5-minute song or anything like that. It was a little snippet of time. But boy, could they fit a lot of moves.
It's a lot of wacky.
90 to 120 seconds.
There's a lot of lifting.
Dance Fever.
Fever. And it's Fever.
Fever. Dance Fever.
Yeah. Well, Dance Fever was originally created by Merv Griffin, who had already created Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. And the idea was conceived after a special Merv Griffin episode, like his talk show episode, that was saluting the movie. Everybody wait for it. Thank God It's Friday. Friday.
Thank God it's Friday. Thank God it's
Thank God it's
Friday. Okay, do you guys remember? I was actually Husker Du'd by that. I loved that movie. I loved the soundtrack. If you remember, it was an all-star cast. Donna Summer, it had Deborah Winger, Jeff Goldblum, the Commodores. So there had been a special Merv Griffin talk show episode that was saluting that movie. Thank God It's Friday. The plot of the movie was about couples competing for a disco title. But the original formula for Dance Fever is far different from what it became. Merv wanted to have current celebrities dancing with professional disco dancers. Basically, Merv Griffin thought of Dancing with the Stars in 1978.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah. But the producer couldn't get any celebrities or pro dancers to sign on to that idea because they were all afraid they'd look really stupid. Literally a few days before the pilot for Dance Fever aired, the producer just pulled 4 couples from Thank God It's Friday and had them compete for some celebrity judges. Celebrity judges, these are 3 people I want to have at a dinner party. Sherman Hemsley, Barbie Benton, and Hervé Villechaize.
That was the first episode? Those are the judges? Oh my God, I'm clapping.
These are the 3 judges.
That's so good.
So, listeners, next time someone asks you that question, 3 people, living or dead, you want to have dinner with, those are your 3.
Oh my God.
Because the producer was like, yeah, no one's going to watch this anyway. But you guys, thank God he was wrong. Because 200, Carolyn just told us that 200 and something episodes. So, yeah, that's kind of how it all began.
As Carolyn mentioned at the beginning, our host for Dance Fever was Deney Terrio, the man who was responsible for teaching John Travolta how to dance for Saturday Night Fever. Supposedly, because I don't know, you guys, I've looked in the credits. I've never seen his name in the credits. I think he should be in the credits. But there is photographic evidence of him dancing with John Travolta, and nobody ever disputes that he taught John Travolta how to dance. So I'm confused. Let's just say I'm confused. So everything about Deney Terrio screamed 1979. The dark feathered hair, the gold chain, the suit jacket cut so you can dance in it. Basically, the look for men in 1979 was this John Travolta / Tony Manero strutting with your paint can swinging by your side look. And Deney Terrio fits the bill, as does Adrian Zement, let's be honest.
Right.
So Deney Terrio rode this look, this trend, and this moment where he taught John Travolta how to dance all the way into a career on Dance Fever, which fit him like a glove. Deney Terrio actually grew up in Florida. That kind of surprised me. And he says he got into dancing because of his older sister. This is what he said. The great thing about having an older sister is she had girlfriends who spent the night. I would peek into the window and see them all dancing. I realized women love to dance and started telling guys they needed to learn how to dance to get the girls. So he himself became a dancer to get the girls, which you can sort of see on the show. And it wasn't too long before he was winning dance competitions. And then somehow he got a meeting with John Travolta's manager before the filming of Saturday Night Fever and was like, just let me show you my moves. Just give me a minute. I'll show you my moves. And his manager was like, yes, this is the style. We're going for it. You're hired. So while he was on Dance Fever, he actually appeared in a few movies and guest starred on a few TV shows, including The Love Boat, of course. I mean, I was going to say, do you want to? Of course. If you were going to be on one show, it would be The Love Boat, right? And I bet he just plays Deney Terrio. He probably just plays, his name is like Benny Mario, and he's the dance instructor on the boat.
Yes, he's the dance instructor.
For sure, that is his storyline. And he falls in love with Barbie Benton, and
and he's teaching Rue McClanahan how to do the bus
And Rue
stuff.
McClanahan falls in love with him, but he's not in love with her because he's in love with Barbie Benton.
No. Because Doc has a crush on Barbie Benton. Who Barbie Benton really is crushing on Deney Terrio.
This is a love square.
And,
So the other cast members, the other permanent cast members on Deney Terrio, on Dance Fever were, as mentioned before, Motion. And I just thought it was so funny that they were called Motion, not The Motion. They were just Motion. Yeah. And so Motion was the name of the duo of women who danced with Deney Terrio in the opening number of Dance Fever. It sort of reeks of a threesome a little bit because he kind of treats them like his ladies, you know? Like, and I have two. Yeah. I don't just have one lady, I have two. And one member of Motion would always bring him the results of the competition, handing him a little piece of paper with, couple number 4 written on it. And they would always linger over a kiss when they brought the results. It's gross. It's just like, and then he'll always like look at the audience and like wiggle his eyebrows, like, or, straighten his suit jacket or something. Like get over yourself, Deney Terrio.
The collar.
So one of those women was a dancer named Janet Jones, which might be a name that sounds familiar to you. You might remember her from her role in the movie version of A Chorus Line, or from the 1986 gymnastics movie called American Anthem with Mitch Gaylord, or...
Oh, Mitch Gaylord. Good grief. I actually had posters of Mitch Gaylord.
There was a poster.
I did too. My sister for my birthday made me like a collage in one of those acrylic box things where she cut out all these pictures of Mitch Gaylord. I hung it in college.
Or you might remember Janet Jones as Wayne Gretzky's wife. So when they got married, it was a big Hollywood whoop-de-doo, and he changed teams from the Edmonton, is it the Oilers?
Yes.
Am I making that up? The Edmonton Oilers to the Los Angeles Kings. He left Canada. He left his winning team, and he went to the Los Angeles Kings, and hockey fans were pissed, and they blamed Janet Jones, saying that she was making him move to LA for her career. But she has said, if I made a move here for my career, why did I promptly get pregnant 5 times? Like she was pregnant for like 8 years straight as soon as he moved to Los Angeles. That would take her out of the running for most gymnastics movies, obviously. So before Janet Jones,
her continued career as a motion dancer.
I mean, nowadays they would say that was discrimination. Can you imagine if one of Motion was pregnant? That would be awesome.
Oh my gosh.
So actually, before Janet Jones was cast in Motion, she was a competitor on Dance Fever. So I'm assuming that's how she got the job. And she met Wayne Gretzky when he was a judge on Dance Fever. Yes.
I did not know
that. In 1984.
That's a great meet cute.
Mm-hmm. It's Dance Fever love.
Aww. We'd like to pause here for just a moment and thank those of you who have left reviews for us, sharing your feelings about this podcast so that others can hear for themselves what a good time we're having together. I'd like to share this one from Sweet Tea 1970 on Apple Podcasts. She says, "My fave podcast!" Exclamation point. "This podcast is good for my health. I tend to listen to a lot of political podcasts, and this is the only one that brings my blood pressure down instead of making it go up. It also motivates me to walk my dog instead of sitting on the couch watching the news. I've listened to every episode, some more than once, and I'm about to start from the beginning and listen to them all again." Again.
Wow.
That's a lot of us, Sweet Tea.
Yeah.
You're providing a public service, a respite from modern stresses and negativity. Thank you, Carolyn, Kristen, and Michelle. Aw, thank you, Sweet Tea.
yes.
Listen, you know what? We're good for people's health, it sounds
I
like.
know. I think the Surgeon General needs to recommend us.
I think so.
For sure. Thank you so much, Sweet Tea. It's reviews like this that magically bring us more listeners and more friends into the society of Gen Xers. So people, keep those reviews coming. And now, let's get back to the show.
This is interesting, you guys. I have always associated the song Pop Music by M. Pop music. I have always associated that song with Dance Fever. And it's a really strong connection. But I never understood why, because this is not disco. This was a song that heralded the death of disco, actually. It was saying, here comes new wave. So why do I have this association? Wasn't this post Dance Fever? So I've actually convinced myself that I created a false memory about this. Like maybe I had a dream or something about it. But when I started doing my research, the very first episode of Dance Fever that I open on YouTube opens with Deney Terrio performing a solo to pop music.
Yep.
I'm like, this is it. This is where my memory comes from. The brain is so bizarre, you guys. It is so bizarre. This was an episode from 1979, and it was not Deney Terrio's best day.
No.
He appeared to be unprepared and truthfully not very good at dancing. And
Is this the
which
one
is
where
kind
he
of his
dances
job.
with the jukebox?
Yes,
Oh,
he's
so
dancing
bad.
with the jukebox, and he's like hiding behind the jukebox. I think that's where he was planning what he was going to do. And then he like pops up, and then it's that kind of, you're not supposed to improvise. They're supposed to be choreographed, but he looks very much like he's improvising, but in a way where you're going, okay, first, okay, whacking. Okay, stop. The robot. Okay, do the
And then
robot.
he does deep lunge, and you guys, he just pantomimes that he's pressing the buttons on the jukebox for like 16 counts in a deep lunge.
Much pushing buttons.
Just pushing,
like poke,
pushing,
poke,
pushing,
poke,
pushing,
poke,
pushing,
poke.
pushing.
And then he would stop, and he would do something else, and then he'd go back to poking the buttons. Like he's not doing anything else creative while he's poking the buttons. That's the choreography. Poke, poke. I'm choosing a song. I'm choosing a song on the jukebox.
Yep.
I'm not kidding. It's really this long. That's how long it was.
A4, A4,
Yes.
A4, A4, A4.
It's
And
not
then he slides
good.
down the jukebox,
Yes.
and then he slides down the other side of the jukebox. And another thing about that open is where's motion?
Where's motion?
Something happened that day in the studio, you guys.
Oh,
motion
that's it.
was gone.
You're right. And he was
He
improvising.
wasn't prepared. Something happened.
Yes. Oh, I feel so much better because I'm like, what is going on right now? But truthfully, you guys, he should be able to improvise better than that.
He should be.
That's his job. His job is to be a dancer. And he was not. But you're right. There was a backstage accident with motion or something.
Yeah, and so what happened? Here it is. Okay, listeners, this is the True Hollywood story on what happened on this episode of Dance Fever. He also would kind of pop his collar a lot.
That's choreography.
Pop his collar. So here's what happened. Something happened backstage. There was an argument. There was a tussle. There was some sort of jealous fight. One of the motion dancers said, "F you, Deney Terrio. You're making eyes at her," and walked off. And so all the choreography got scrapped. Merv Griffin pushes in a jukebox. Says, "Sit on the jukebox," and we're live in 4, 3, 2, pop,
1,
pop music, and he just
pop,
starts
pop,
kind of
pop
bouncing
music.
on it, and then he slides down, and he pushes.
And he's worried he's not going to get his threesome
Yeah.
that night. Yeah, it's bad.
There
It's
you
bad.
go.
And then at the end, he ends the whole routine by like you do your little pop and lock to the back of the jukebox,
yes.
and then you just go down behind it. We're hiding. We're hiding. hiding behind the jukebox.
Yep.
And then he pops out like, it's me. And now we're going to start the show.
Surprise! It was me.
I tricked you.
Pop music. Pop music. Radio, video. Movie with a suitcase. Y'all living in a disco. Forget about the rat race. Let's do the milkshake and sell it like a hot cake. Try some, buy some, beat by four. Talk about pop music. Talk about pop music.
So in this episode, the judges are Bobby Van, who I don't know. I think that's somebody my grandma would know. Jane Seymour, Robert Shields of Shields and Yarnell, and Benji. It's the best.
But wait,
It's
it was.
the best.
It wasn't just Jane Seymour. It was Jane Seymour and Benji.
And
And
They
Benji, they were a
together.
team.
They were
Yes, and so they came dancing down the little runway together, and Benji stands on his hind legs with his paws out like, somebody dance with me, take my paws and dance with me.
And the whole
It's so
show,
funny.
if you look over at the judges, it's just Jane Seymour sitting up on the top seat with Benji just sitting next to her the whole show.
Oh my God.
Just think how excited we were when they came out. Like, oh my
Yes.
gosh, it's Jane Seymour and Benji.
I
mean,
know.
oh my
And
gosh.
they judged as a team too. Jane Seymour and Benji
Yes.
judged as a team.
Yes.
And she would even say things like, I let Benji take this one. And Benji would go, bark. And 98.
And listeners, we should say it was Benji, but he was on the show because he and Jane Seymour were co-starring in That Heavenly Dog or something like that.
Oh,
right?
Heavenly Dog?
Oh,
Is that
Heavenly
it?
Dog.
Oh,
something
Heavenly
like that.
Dog.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it was.
They
This
were
was
co-stars.
several years post Benji,
Yes.
yes.
but we
that is
we
his
know
name.
him as Benji.
Benji.
Right.
And that's
His name is
probably
Benji.
his name.
Oh my God. Oh,
It was
so
fantastic.
Robert Shields took his job no Yarnell. There's no Yarnell. It's just Robert Shields. And he fancies himself the inventor of the robot. If you recall from our Dynamite episode, he thinks he invented this. So you can already sense he's got a little chip on his shoulder. Like, everybody's doing my move and they're not doing it as good as me. And he's got some moves to share. So when he comes down the introductory dance floor, he's like, everybody back up, back up. It's time for the mime to do some dancing. And he looks just like Deney Terrio also. He's also got that 1979 look with the bell bottoms and the jacket and the black feathered hair. And it's interesting. They introduce him like this. They say, you know him from the fantastic miming duo Shields and Yarnell, but he's also a fantastic solo act. So I have to wonder if they were transitioning into post Shields and Yarnell, like they were divorcing and he's like, oh my God, am I going to mime by myself? What am I going to do? Am I going to start talking?
There's no one to close me in the box anymore. There's no one to hold the rope that I have to pull. It's just
Oh gosh.
and his dance, he does those like split leaps where you fall on the
Yes.
floor, like where his
Yeah.
like legs are made of rubber. He's like showing, he's like up and down and up and down. And then did you notice that he gets denied? That then he comes up and Deney Terrio puts his hand out to shake his hand and he just walks away.
Yes.
Robert
yes.
Shields just
You know what?
walks away.
So
You know
embarrassing.
what? Because he's so mad that Denny did the robot and not very well.
Oh
I might
my
add,
God.
Probably.
In
Yes.
the beginning.
In the jukebox routine.
Yes, in the jukebox routine.
You did my
Probably
robot.
because when the motion dancer got upset and left and everybody was like, how are we going to open the show? He was probably going, I'll do it. I'll mime. I'll do it. I'll do it. And they were like, no, come on. That's ridiculous. And
Right.
he was,
Denny is the star.
he
Denny
was
is the star.
he was still a little salty about
yeah.
that.
He probably wanted them to put like, Robert Shields, TM. Whenever Deney Terrio does the robot. TM. Robert Shields, TM. TM. Oh my God.
So, Kristen, you said you did not know who Bobby Van was.
No, I don't know who
one
that
of the
is.
judges. I didn't either when I saw who the list of judges were. When he came out and danced, I thought, it looks vaguely familiar. So I got to get out my shovel. I got to start the digging. How do I know Bobby Van? Well, he's a game show host. I don't remember any game shows until I remember the game show. He hosted the game show Make Me Laugh. Do either of you remember Make Me Laugh? So
I think I do, yeah. It's like a
the-
comedian that has
Yeah.
to make you laugh, basically.
Right, like you're in a
Oh,
studio
this is sounding
audience, like
familiar.
on Price is Right, and it would be,
Yes.
Jenny Smith, come on down, and you sat in this like round thing with in a chair, kind of like a la $10,000 pyramid when they're at the pyramid.
In a little pod.
Yeah, in a little pod. And you have 3 different comedians that are going to try to make you laugh. And my sister and I would play Make Me Laugh all the time. And I had these mixed emotions when I would watch the show because obviously I wanted the contestant to do well and not laugh. But I felt really bad for the comedian who was trying really hard to make
so bad.
Conflicting emotions.
Yes.
I don't like it.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, you have totally Husker Duty. Bork.
Yes, that was one of my Bork moments because
my God.
would have never thought of that show ever again had I not done that little digging. But anyway, yes, Bobby Van, host of Make Me Laugh.
That is so interesting. I think I get him mixed up with the Polish prince. Who's that? The Polish.
Gosh, where are you going?
That sounds like a fever dream. That sounds like a dream you had last night.
Bobby. Is that Bobby Vinton?
Vinton, Bobby Vinton. Is that the Polish prince? Yeah. Does he sing Volare?
Oh my God. All right, listeners, I'm going to bring us back to this episode because I want to share that my favorite part by far of the early episodes that I had forgotten about are the couple descriptions that Deney Terrio reads as they're dancing. Just let me give you a couple from this episode.
Oh, please.
Mary Ellen is a secretary who hopes to be the first woman to waltz on the moon. Here's another one. Both Bobby and Beverly sell clothes. Yes! Beverly breeds horses, and Bobby's ambition is to be the next Deney Terrio.
How about this one? In his spare time, Rich builds his own swimming pools. Cheryl is a floral designer and dreams about dancing on Barry Manilow's piano.
Yeah. That was a good one.
Oh, and I have got to say, I think, Kristen, I cracked the code maybe on why you were such a huge fan of Dance Fever. Because did you all see how many of the contestants came from Minneapolis, St. Paul?
I only saw one, which was hilarious.
I saw like 4.
You're kidding.
No, and I have this theory that maybe Minneapolis was a hub for where you could do like the preliminary auditions because much
a
like
regional competition.
American Idol, they have these places that people would go because there were several Minneapolis, St. Paul ones that I saw. One, the woman was a med student at the U and her dream was to become the team doctor for the Vikings.
Okay, my favorite was Sherry is a theater student who thinks Tom Selleck is the hottest hunk around. Oh, like that's her bio.
God. Deney Terrio probably got so mad.
Oh, he was pissed. Oh, wait, what about this one? Yvette is a dental hygienist who dreams of being a Rockette. Okay, but the Minneapolis people that I saw, I only saw one, and they danced to Roll Out the Barrel. Doing like a full-on polka. And I was like, no, don't do this. And they talked about Midwestern flair. Here, Bobby and Tammy from Minneapolis doing Roll Out the Barrel. No.
That's not the kind of originality I think they're talking about.
Well, I did read that because some of these people are really good dancers, and they were actually, some of them were semi-professional dancers. So some people were, I think, worked at amusement parks and some of the dancing shows in the summer.
Oh, I thought you meant like the Ferris wheel or something.
Oh,
I was like, what? How is that related?
I should say, it's one of the couples met at the amusement park where they worked. Now, I'm imagining in my head, I have this great meet cute where, they were in one of the little stage productions at Six Flags over Texas. I never thought that they were running the log shoot, but perhaps.
They were doing Roll Out the Barrel. Oh my God, and they just bounced. They were doing their polka and they were just bouncing.
Someone though, Kristen, that you failed to mention when you were talking about the cast and that watching these episodes made me remember how much I loved, and I think you guys too, is DJ Freeman King.
And
that's
his name.
He always rhymed like if he would the first few seasons, and I'm going to get to who did this in the later and after 1980, but the first few seasons he announced what they were dancing to.
Yeah.
And he did it as a rhyme. And he always wore a hat with a record album stuck to it somehow.
And it would flop around. I was always worried the record was going to fall off.
Yes. I got so Husker Dude when I saw that. I was like, yes, I remember.
Oh my God, so funny.
Dance Fever's music man, our resident DJ on loan from Bellevue. Dr. D, Freeman King, from New York to LA, from Miami to Frisco. Dance Fever's the place if you're looking for disco.
That episode with Jane Seymour and Benji, The dancing was so funny. It was so of 1979.
Yes, it was.
So, and you know what I realized? Not only do the male dancers dress like they're ice dancers, like they're ice skaters with the like the spandex unitard, almost like overall type thing, and then a satin shirt underneath it, or just nothing.
Yeah.
Underneath
Just
it
bare
sometimes.
chested.
But they do all the same lifts. Now, I know on Dancing with the Stars, currently, ballroom dancing does have some of the dances require a lot of lifts, but these are different lifts. These are the types of lifts they do on ice dancing. Like, say you hold the woman up over your head like a barbell, and then she somehow spins like 5 times down, and you catch her with one arm under her leg and one arm
Like a Jacob's
under
ladder,
her
almost. It's like Jacob's ladder.
She goes flying
Did you
down.
try that in the TV room?
No,
She-
no. It was mostly just swinging around and then trying that twisty arm thing.
When he catches her, she's literally like an inch from the ground.
Yes.
And
Oh,
she started up high
God.
over his head.
Oh, my God.
So there's those things. But in this one episode, do you guys remember the couple? And when it starts, they all also start with a starting pose.
Oh, yes.
Sometimes they're like on the floor. Yes. Or a robot. So much robot.
So
It was
much robot. Robert Shields must have
Basically,
been
it goes like this.
pissed.
It goes like robot, lift, spin, robot, spin, robot, lift, robot, kick. But the lady started by kicking at him. It was like a little, like this was their, what is it, originality? What's one of the things they have to be judged on?
Showmanship,
Originality,
execution.
execution.
Yeah, it's one of, so yeah, so they're telling a story and she's kicking at him, but you guys, she's kicking like Sally O'Malley. Like
Yes.
she's literally
Yes.
like just kicking, I'm kick, and I kick.
And she's not
and I
flexible.
kick. And she can barely kick.
No.
And she's kicking at him and I'm like, oh no, honey, that's a, I give you a 70.
And there was a lot of rerun, right? So, which I'm there for the
So
rerun,
much.
right? And rerun being rerun from what's happening, which is
Yeah.
a lot of.
I have that written
I'm
down.
trying to. I can't say it in words. I'm just doing the.
But Kristen, I actually have that written down because I watched one episode where they wore little white gloves, like baggy yellow pants, white paperboy, like newsboy hats, little white glasses, and they do that kind of pop and lock kick, that kind of, and I wrote down just like they look
Just
like
like
reruns.
rerun. I could watch rerun dance all freaking day.
Yeah.
Like, and then the next people would come on and she'd have her high heels. I'm like, get rid of the high heels. I want rerun back.
Yeah, yeah. And lots of ripping off the ladies' skirts.
Oh yeah.
Like they have the
gosh.
flowy skirt,
Yes.
they do twirls, and then all of a sudden the man rips her skirt
I
off,
love
and
those
she's
rips.
got like
Oh,
a
I
little
love
heel
those
on.
skirts. And sometimes they'd like twirl out of the skirt. It'd be like,
That's why you need a wrap skirt so you can unwrap.
Yes. Oh, as you twirl.
Yes.
yes.
Well,
twirl out.
another one of my favorites from 79 is this. Cindy is a registered nurse and picks up extra money belly dancing at parties.
Well, one of the Minneapolis St. Paul people, she, that's what she did in her spare time was belly dance.
Oh,
That was
maybe
her, like
this was
her
the one I
hobby.
saw.
I don't know. Maybe they made it to the semifinals.
Well, did you guys know that by 1980, all that spandex was getting replaced with jogging outfits and
Oh
looser
my
fit
God.
clothing like parachute
Yes.
pants and tennis shoes? And bad move. Judy Landers now gives the couples descriptions before they dance in that
Oh.
breathy voice and should go, Peter enjoys studying physical education and duck hunting.
I like the voiceover better while they're dancing. Judy is a receptionist.
better.
So much better.
And it would just show her and should be like, and you guys, to be honest with you, when I saw her, I'm like, it's a Landers. It's a
Uh-huh,
Landers.
you know it.
And here's what's like, is this impressive or embarrassing as a Gen Xer? When you know it's a Landers and you know that it's either Judy or Audrey, you know their names. Why? Because of Love Boat.
Of course.
Because
their
of Love
names are right under their porthole.
Always.
Right under the
so
porthole.
So first I was like, oh, let's try Audrey.
Yeah.
I bet it's Audrey. No credits on Audrey for Dance Fever. I'm like, well, maybe it's Judy. And as I'm typing in, I'm thinking, good God, Michelle, that is such superfluous information to have in your brain. Like,
And
get
yet we
that
all
out.
have it. Okay, and the whole workout trend is strong, right? And there was one routine that was to Eye of the Tiger, and the guy looks exactly like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and the girl is like a little mini Schwarzenegger, and they basically do calisthenics for the whole routine. They actually start the routine. It's like bump, 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 Eye of the Tiger, and they get down on the floor and do sit-ups. Their choreography includes sit-ups. And then they get up and they do some windmills. Touch your toes. Touch your toes. This is choreography. Yeah. Touch your toes.
Yeah, that's not very original. I give him a 70.
it's so interesting the way we watched these episodes. And you guys are a lot into the actual dances, like what they were doing. I mean, I watched those too, but I was kind of speeding through to the celebrity judges. Like I wanted to see what they had to say. That was the big thing for me. And that's why I tuned in every week, like who's going to be the judge? And so no doubt that was always so much fun. But I think what even took it to the next level and was so, I don't have the adjective for it. I'm going to figure it out one day about this show, but how they put these judges together. So when you see who was on one show, you would have Jamie Farr, Tristan Rogers, and Jill Whelan. I mean, you had like
Vicky from Love Boat.
Yes. Along with, Robert Scorpio.
Yeah.
And Robert Scorpio, who, by the way, whose shirt was unbuttoned down to his belly button when he came out, and he thought he could dance and he really couldn't. And then we had Melissa Gilbert, Jimmy Bayo, and Casey from Casey and the Sunshine Band. That was a combination. And maybe one of my favorites was Ray Bolger, the Scarecrow from The Wizard of Oz, Lynn Redgrave, and our friend, the PCPS friend, Gene Anthony Ray.
What? From
Yes.
Fame.
From Fame.
Oh,
Yes, so
R.I.P.
another
Leroy from
dancer.
Fame.
Yeah.
Leroy from
Oh,
Fame,
I
who
love
had
Leroy.
to painstakingly watch these people dance.
Oh, that must have been torture for him.
I know. Can you imagine?
Again, anytime we need to know who we're going to take to dead or alive, to a cocktail party or to a dinner party, we just need to go back and watch an episode. Pick one at
Yes.
random.
Yeah.
And the three judges, whoever they put together, that's who
The
you have to take to
Scarecrow
your dinner
and
party.
Leroy.
Happily.
At your dinner party.
Happily we'll take them.
That's brilliant. I love it so much.
Oh, that one just
So
that
Robert
was a
Shields
hoot.
is sort of in the same category as Gene Anthony Ray. He just seemed pissed to be watching these people. I'm pretty sure he thought, I could do this better. And also I learned is that Robert Shields is a better mime than he is speaker. Like when he opened his mouth, he just was so not interesting. But he, everybody else had fun little quips like, you guys were having such a good time. And Robert Shields was like, the execution was good, 91. And I thought, dude, I think miming is your jam.
Yeah, if they would have let him mime it.
Mime your response. He would have been so much more creative.
But I bet he was trying to branch out from just the mime
I think you're
world.
right.
This was kind of his step into, I actually do speak. And
Just not very well.
That's right.
You guys, honest to goodness, could we please just one time just do a whole episode unscripted where we just talk about Shields?
I think so. We're just going to watch.
And I think listeners right now, there's a lot of listeners who have been with us since the beginning and understand how this is a recurring thing that just never fails to crack us up. And we just can't stop.
We can't say Shields and Yarnell without dissolving into laughter every single time. At the end of this 1979 episode that I watched, Denny, and he didn't do this every episode, but he did it in quite a few episodes. Deney Terrio invites all of the contestants and the judges onto the stage for a dance lesson. And he's going to teach them a dance move. And in this 1979 episode, he's going to teach them a move called the Steve Martin. And this is basically, you're going to bend your arms at the elbows, and then you're just going to move your arms side to side. Move them side to side. That's it. See, we're dancing now. I think Deney Terrio made this up while he was behind the jukebox. Yeah. He's like, what am I going to do for the dance lesson?
No, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, why didn't he just teach them and we're going to poke the jukebox and poke and poke and poke. He's like, everyone just extend your finger.
Choose your song.
And then you just go forward.
Choose your song. And you guys, he wasn't even, I'm going back to the jukebox now. He's not even grooving. He's not even grooving while he's poking the jukebox. He's standing still and poking and poking and poking. It was painful.
Okay, listeners, you might think we're exaggerating this. She's like, we're not. To prove it, that the link to that episode is going in the Weekly Reader
it is.
This Friday. Again, if you're not subscribed yet, it's very easy to do. Just go to our website at poppreservationists.com and sign up. And it is just, our Weekly Reader comes straight to your email inbox what other inbox would there be? But it comes to your inbox every Friday morning, and it's a really just short, I don't know what about you guys, like a 3-minute read just of fun facts, extra facts from the episode we just had, plus other fun stuff we like to throw in. So we're going to put the jukebox episode, and that's the one with Jane Seymour
and Benji.
And Benji.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Shields.
Enjoy.
And Shields. Yes. You're welcome.
It's time for Dance Fever, starring Deney Terrio. The show featuring the country's top disco dancers. This year, competing for cash and prizes worth more than $75,000 with this week's celebrity judges. From Oh Heavenly Dog star Jane Seymour and Benji. The very entertaining Robert Shields. Make Me Laugh star Bobby Van plus Evelyn Champagne King. And now, here's Denny. Woo!
Okay, buckle up, everybody, because this is one wild and crazy episode that I want to talk about. Okay, this is the Christmas episode that aired in 1980. Oh my gosh, you guys. This truly, there are no words to describe the awful awesomeness of this episode.
Or the awesome awfulness.
Yes.
Whichever.
Right.
Yes,
kind of the same.
it's truly awfully awesome. That's kind of what it is. From the celebrity judges to the entertainment to the guest DJ who introduces the contestants and even the contestants. I mean, this is over the top. So much so that I'm just going to give you a quick rundown. And listeners, we are going to unpack this even more next year during the Christmas season.
This will be our holiday episode.
This will be a holiday episode because
a slam dunk.
I cannot even. So let me just give you a quick rundown. Okay. Our celebrity judges, it's actually unique because it's the Christmas special. We have Connie Stevens and her daughter, Robert Blake Beretta and his daughter, and Chad Everett and his daughter. By the way, dead or not dead?
Chad Everett.
I don't know about the daughter.
I think
Chad Everett.
I think
Oh,
is
geez,
dead.
the daughter.
Well, and these were the judges. Why, you may ask?
Yeah, why?
Well, here's why. Because on this very special Christmas episode, we don't just have adult contestants. We have child contestants too. We have children pairs.
Oh, I would have loved
And when
that.
I watched this episode, that came flooding back. You know, when those little kids, you've seen videos when they're like doing the tango or the cha-cha and they're like 8. They're
Oh,
very
my God.
serious. Well, and this was divided up by North, South, East, and West regions. The adult couple would dance, the child couple would dance, and then they also had one performance where they performed together. And Kristen, you would be so happy to know the North was represented by folks from Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Of course.
Of course. And the adult couple, they wore these beautiful green unitards, spandex, of course, and they just had like tinsel stapled to them. So that's how they were Christmas. Okay. So
Their moms are backstage, like stapling.
Well, these were the adults.
Stapling. Their moms are still there, stapling. I got to tell you, when you say that there are these kids and they're from Minneapolis, there's a little twinge in my heart. Like, why didn't my mom call and get me on the show?
You're
Linda,
not kidding, Kristen. I know.
come
This could
on.
have been your I think you had a lot. Well, I don't know how many times they had children on. I felt like it was a lot.
I was on one competition show, but it was a local show called Discoverama with Dr. Ann Del Vecchio.
Well, how are we just learning that now?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't
Okay.
win. I didn't win. It wasn't a dance competition. It was like a talent show, and it was on TV. And the people who won were 2 sisters who were twins singing that sisters song. Sisters. And I remember being yeah, I hated that song so much. I remember being pissed because I thought, well, they just won because they're twins.
They are like, whatever. Who are our friends? The Audrey and
Judy and Audrey
Judy
Landers.
and Audrey Landers. Okay.
That's how they started on Discoverama
That's right.
with Dr. Ann Del Vecchio.
Well, on this Christmas episode, you guys, we didn't have, unfortunately, Judy Landers or Audrey Landers, but we had someone that kind of looked like them. You're not going to believe them.
Oh my God.
And she was dressed in kind of a sexy Santa outfit, and she kind of talked in that same sultry voice, which was not the voice you were used to hearing her speak with, because this would have been Allison Arngrim.
No.
Or
no,
Nellie.
No, I don't
Yes.
want that. I don't want that.
You don't, but it's
Oh,
like so bad, but you can't look away. It's kind of like a little car
Did
wreck.
she have the curls in her hair? Did she have Nellie Olsen hair? Okay,
she
good.
looked
No,
like
but she was
Audrey
trying-
Landers.
Well, she tried to break free of that image, you guys.
Oh,
like
she was
look
trying
at
really
pictures
hard.
of her and understandable.
Yeah.
Let's give her credit.
Well, it's like Jan Brady trying to be Dawn Portrait of a Runaway.
That's true.
Right?
Well, totally. But I can only imagine what my kid brain was thinking at the time because
breaking my brain.
It was one thing to kind of break the mold, like, oh, I'm Robert Shields, I'm now going to speak and make you think of me a little differently. This is, I'm going to go from Nellie Olson in like a prairie apron dress to this slinky, sexy Santa outfit with this little hat and all this makeup on.
And her legs showing.
It was, just like I said, it was awesome awfulness.
It sounds fabulous.
Oh, God, Carolyn. Eventually, I know it's really sad, but eventually Dance Fever had to come to an end.
No.
I can't believe that it lasted as long as it did. But after being on the air for nearly a decade, Dance Fever came to an end in 1987, like Carolyn said, with 234 episodes under its belt. And like she said, Adrian Zemed took over for Deney Terrio because he had the same 1979 look. It seemed that the culture at that point was sort of moving away from dance competitions, and disco was long gone. How it held on this long, I have no idea. How it survived the death of disco is kind of amazing, but Dance Fever far outlasted disco. And it's interesting, when I was watching these episodes right now, when I was watching the later episodes and there wasn't as much disco, whether it was in the music or whether it was in the dance, I was annoyed. I was like,
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I was annoyed. I wasn't interested.
I wasn't
as much.
interested.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
You
And
didn't
that.
want to watch the clogging?
Oh my God.
Oh my God. It's so funny. So funny.
Well, listeners, I know you're all wondering, what happened to Deney Terrio? Dead or not dead? Not dead.
Not dead.
Deney Terrio is 73. And you guys, I couldn't find a presence on social media, but when searching the hashtag Deney Terrio, I found, besides posts from the Pop Culture Preservation Society, a photo from 2 years ago that someone posted of their grandson with Denny, who looks exactly like Freeze Miser from The Year Without a Santa Claus.
Oh,
Are you guys ready for this?
I'm ready. Okay,
I did
ready?
a split
Show.
screen,
Here we go.
but it's the first thing I thought of when I saw it.
It is. Oh my God. I'm scared.
It's the chin. It's that
Yes.
chin and kind of
And
the
the nose. And the
that
nose.
chin
hair.
is so square.
The hair.
Oh
So,
my God.
listeners, I'm going to post this photo this week in the Weekly Reader so you guys can see that we're not wrong. I'm not wrong. When I saw him, I immediately went,
Yeah.
Freeze Miser comes to life.
Wow.
Freeze Miser lives in Deney Terrio. But anyway, throughout the 1990s, Denny toured nightclubs, performing with motion and judging dance contests naturally, and eventually hosted his own disco radio show called Saturday Night Dance Party on Sirius Satellite Radio Network. It says this is from Wikipedia, says he is a choreographer and competitor at regional Dancing with the Stars competitions. So begs the question, is correct?
Right.
At 73, is he? And
I'm
here's what's
confused.
interesting.
Maybe
I watch
he's a
Dancing with the
judge.
Stars
Yeah.
and they pull judges in. Like they've had Paula Abdul. They have, a lot of ABC people like Michael Strahan, who knows nothing about dance, but he
Right.
gets to judge. I'm thinking, why not pull Deney Terrio
Why?
in?
There has to be a reason.
Oh, they
Because
have a disco night on. You know how they have
Yeah.
themed
do.
nights?
They
there
did this
has
past
to be a
season.
reason they're not calling on Deney
I would
Terrio.
think.
And I think it has to do with Merv Griffin.
Well, here we go. So
Yeah.
what I found the most interesting is this. In 1991, I'd like to say that's not too long ago, but it's 30 years ago. Deney Terrio sued Merv Griffin. If you remember, he was the producer of Dance Fever for sexual harassment. But wait, there's more. In 2015, Deney Terrio sued the toy company Hasbro in a federal court for creating an animated gecko and toy figurine named Vinny Terrio,
Come on, Hasbro. You have
alleging
got to do better.
that his publicity rights were violated by the gecko.
Wait. Just stop. Like a gecko?
By the gecko and figurine.
Okay, is the gecko a lizard?
Yes.
It's
It's
a
a
toy.
cartoon. It's a cartoon lizard.
It's an animated gecko, but then they also made a toy figure.
Is it a disco lizard?
Well,
Yes.
no. It's named Vinny Terrio.
It
and
has
so it's
to have
animated.
some other
It does.
things besides the name.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
it says
they-
he has
they
a little
said-
bio. It says, did you look him up, Michelle?
No.
Okay, so Deney Terrio is our gecko. His name is Vincent Alfonso Deney Terrio, is a gecko with a talent for dancing. He isn't very smart, but he does try his best at whatever he does. He is a top-notch dancer, but he still messes up a lot due to being clumsy.
I would sue too.
I would too. It's a name that nobody will forget, right? Like, it seems like we're having this conversation about how nothing came after, but the truth is, everybody knows Deney Terrio.
I hope you've enjoyed today's show as much as we have. Our thanks to Artie Johnson, Linda Goodfriend, Will Chamberlain, Paul Gilpin and his sexy thing, and our regulars, Freeman King in Motion, and today's big semifinal winners, Luann and Bobby from Fort Wayne. So till next time, here's hoping you'll catch Dance Fever.
I think if you want to show your kids, just like we've said, just a slice of what it was like to exist in the disco era, this is the perfect vehicle for doing that. It's the music, the hair, the flashing dance floor, the shiny fabrics, the disco ball, the casual sexual innuendo, the lifts, the tricks, the rotating cast of Love Boat guest stars pretending they know anything at all about dancing. It's oh so 70s and oh so fun. It deserves your attention on a YouTube Saturday night. Thank you so much for listening today, and we will see you next time.
And today's episode was brought to you by Michelle, not me, me, but another Michelle, who's a patron, Allie, Amy, Sharon, Felicia, Carmi, Ashley, Alexis, Jennifer, Stephen, Linda, and Jill.
Yes, thanks to you and to all the rest of our supporters on Patreon and those who generously make one-time donations on our website to help keep this podcast coming to you week after week.
In the meantime, let's raise our glasses for a toast courtesy of the cast of Three's Company. To good times.
To happy days.
To Little House on the Prairie. Cheers!
Dance fever. Dance fever. The information, opinions, and comments expressed on the Pop Culture Preservation Society podcast belong solely to Carolyn, the Crushologist, and Hello Newman, and are in no way representative of our employers or affiliates. And though we truly believe we are always right, there is always a first time. The PCPS is written, produced, and recorded in Minneapolis, Minnesota, home of the fictional WJM Studios and our beloved Mary Richards. Nanu Nanu, keep on truckin', and may the force be with you.